Hey there, hi there, ho there. How you doing out there, kids? It is time for Sports Frenzy 2.0. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
We are not going to regale you with slap jokes.
Nope.
Bitch slap, hitch slap, whatever. We'll save that for the weekend edition. So make sure you check out our analysis of the Oscars, along with everybody else on the face of the earth.
Now, yeah, we'll get to that in the weekend edition.
So, of course, this is, our sports episode of the week, taping here on the 30th of March, 2022. This will hit the last day of March, the 31st, Thursday morning. We have got to talk about the NCAA tournament. Of course, we have tried over the last couple of weeks to give it its due, but it has been a crazy last couple of weeks with everything. The moons, the stars aligning, the NFL free agents, the baseball lockout ending. So now we can actually talk about the tournament and give it a justifiable full segment. We'll keep you updated on the results of our Frenzy Madness contest in a few minutes.
Boom! Went the brackets.
Hey, you did better than me. You did better than me, bud. So, all right, of course, I am not happy with the outcome here on many levels of the Final Four, which, of course, will be Saturday night. In a way, I'm kind of happy because I could give two rats' asses about the Final Four. So that means I'm free to watch WrestleMania Night 1. We'll talk about that on the weekend edition, of course.
There you go.
Because I am diving into wrestling 1 week out of the year. This is the week where I'm talking wrestling.
WrestleMania weekend, baby.
That's right. I really wanted St. Peter's to pull another upset.
It would have been nice if they would have gotten by North Carolina. That would have been a beautiful thing. And damn, how freaking Duke. So you got another damn rematch between Duke and North Carolina with a trip to the final on the line.
Yep. And that's what I'm talking about. Now it's blue bloods, and more blue bloods. And none of the games were really all that good. Duke beats Arkansas. Of course, we talked about North Carolina beat St. Peter's. Villanova beat Houston in a game that set basketball back 40 years. And then, of course,
it was kind of ugly, wasn't it?
My Miami Hurricanes played a wonderful, brilliant first half, had the lead on Kansas at halftime, and then somebody forgot to tell them, oh, you have to play a second half of basketball, you idiots.
Yeah,
you idiots.
Just forgot how to play.
15 points in the second half. 15 points.
It's pretty brutal.
Doors blown off. Sorry, no pun intended, since we're dealing with the Hurricanes. But yeah, boy, just a decent effort in the second half would have been appreciated. As it turns out, a 26-point blowout victory for the Kansas Jayhawks. So we've got Villanova, Kansas, Duke, North Carolina. Yippee fucking skippy.
Who cares? With the exception of maybe Tobacco Road.
Oh, there's people out there. Oh, Duke, North Carolina, first time ever in the NCAA tournament. This is majestic. This is historic.
This is bullshit because we see him play 2 to 3 times in the regular season in big or ACC tourney.
Yeah.
So, no, it's nothing monumental.
I'll be interested to watch the first game. Villanova and Kansas will play first.
Yeah.
And, of course, that'll fit right in perfectly. I can watch probably 2/3 of that before I have to switch over to WrestleMania. And I guess we've talked about this over the past couple of weeks. We both like Jay Wright. So I guess I'm rooting for Nova to take this whole thing. I am not rooting for Duke.
Oh, hell no, not with that scumbag Coach K.
If anything, I'd go Villanova, then North Carolina, because, I mean, Hubert Davis is just starting out. So I can't hold the history of the Tar Heels against him per se.
No, you can't.
And I care less about Bill Self.
Bill Self's a selfish bastard anyway.
No, but I'll be rooting for North Carolina to knock off Duke. Definitely.
For sure. But hopefully Nova all the way.
Yep. Nova will have to slow things down like they did against Houston. Again, another game that will make Naismith turn in his grave. He's going to have to slow Kansas down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you look at the totals that Villanova's put up over the last 3 games, 50, 63, 71. Where you look at Kansas, 76, 66, 79. Obviously, Nova's going to have to slow the pace down.
Yeah. And they've been able to do that. They've got a decent defense. So they should be able to control the pace of play.
And, of course, we did bring up the fact that they are on pace to set the record for the best free throw percentage of all time for a season.
Right.
For Division 1A.
Definitely.
Yeah, we definitely have to give props to St. Peter's, as we mentioned.
Hell of a run.
Get knocked off by North Carolina, but knocked off Purdue, beat Murray State, and, of course, beat the number 2 seed Kentucky. The first time ever a 15 seed made it to the Elite Eight, so kudos to them.
Yep, and not a blue chip player at all on the team.
Nope, and their head coach, Holloway, is supposedly heading, not official yet, but heading to Seton Hall, as Seton Hall's coach went to Maryland.
So musical coaching chairs rise up yet again. But that's a hell of a thing for that St. Peter's program. Good for them.
Yep. The Peacocks. Oh, boy, I don't think I'd want to play for a team called the Peacocks. Then again, I wouldn't want to play for the Gamecocks either. I just like saying cocks.
Yes, we know.
But yeah, like I said, Miami disappointed me. They shouldn't have. Getting to the Elite Eight was a huge accomplishment for them. And if they had knocked off Kansas, that would have put 3 ACC teams in the Final Four.
That would have been crazy.
And I just look back at my bracket and I just wonder what the hell I was thinking. I'm not going with momentum anymore. That's always been something I've always looked at when doing my bracket. Who's winning the ACC tournament? Who's winning the SEC tournament? Who's winning the Big 12, the Big 10?
Sometimes it works. Most of the time, not really.
I got burned on Tennessee. I got burned on Virginia Tech. So this was literally the worst I can remember in terms of my performance in a March Madness bracket. This was abysmal. This was abysmal for me. So we'll move on now to our tournament, Frenzy Madness, the first one of the year.
Yep, the first of the 5.
NASCAR started first, but NASCAR, of course, will go all the way into November before it finishes up. This will be the first one to finish.
The first official complete.
So Bill and Sam, the elder statesman
and the Big Blue
Big Blue W are tied. We do 1 point per game. That's all we do. Simplify it, distill it, make it as easy as possible for everybody, because everybody here has lives, all 8 of us. Well, except me. So we have got 39-39, correct, for Sam and Bill.
Yep.
Goes to the dreaded tiebreaker, which is total score in the championship game without going over Price is Right rules. So right now it is looking like the Big Blue W will, by all accounts, wrap this thing up because Sam went really high on his final score.
Yep, combined total 166.
Yep.
Man.
He's got to be rooting for Kansas. Because if Villanova gets in the final game, there is no way.
No way in hell that's getting that
He
close.
needs a Kansas, North Carolina run and gun type game.
Yeah, that would benefit
Even
him.
Duke might be able to get up there in points, but Villanova will bring that score down. They will slow
it down, control pace of play, and limit their opposition's opportunities.
Yep, so Sam has got 166 combined total for the championship game. Bill is at 152. So looking right now pretty good for the Big Blue W, because if they both go over, the next tiebreaker is closest regardless of whether they're over under, which would definitely still put Bill in the catbird seat. So Sam just needs offense. Otherwise, the Big Blue W brings in yet another Frenzy Madness trophy. And I have pretty much already crapped the bed when it comes to winning the 2022 Penta Frenzy, because I'm going to finish 7th out of 8. This is going to kill me. You cannot, in 5 contests, have a score like
outside
that.
Of 6.
You got to be up there in consistency. In every one of our 5 contests, you've got to be consistent. And I pretty much showed the need for an adult diaper on this one.
Yep, I will be middle of the pack, so
you're still good to go.
Round 5th.
Yeah, I think you're looking at 5th, especially if Nova wins.
Yeah,
that'll give you another point.
Final, that gets me an extra.
Yep, Dave still got Villanova. Nobody has got my memory. I'm not going to page through all these memory serves.
Doesn't Aaron have Duke going to the final?
Yes, Aaron can still get another point, but all of us, our champions are gone.
Right.
Nobody has a champion left. You and Aaron, there is one other person I believe could still get a point.
Yeah.
For a team getting to the final game, but nobody has a champion winner,
right,
in the final game left. So there you go, kids.
Now I'm kicking myself for going with the favorite Gonzaga over Nova. I almost pulled Nova all the way.
And you would have been the only one. Nobody had faith in Villanova to go as far as they have, except for you.
Almost took them all the way. Ugh.
Ifs, ands, and buts, candies, and nuts.
We'd all have a merry effing Christmas.
So there you go, kids. We will talk, of course, about who won the whole thing on next week's episode.
Yep. Real quick on the women's Final Four side, kind of no big surprises with Louisville and taking on South Carolina. Connecticut again makes the Final Four, going up against Stanford.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a down year for Connecticut. But again, it's tourney time. And Gino has the girls playing at the top. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to mention Notre Dame's women's team getting knocked out.
Yeah, they just folded down the stretch.
But again, if you look at both the men's and the women's, I know North Carolina as an 8 seed isn't, technically a team that was expected to get as far as they did, but come on. It's North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically both men's and women's sides, the Final Four, Blue Bloods. The one thing we didn't mention about Villanova that could hurt them, and I'm not trying to take away your last chance for 1 point, but of course, if you watch the game, Justin Moore, and they showed it in slow motion 10 times when he popped his Achilles.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, I hate to see that. It's not exactly a gruesome, like Joe Theismann type of injury, but,
no, but
when you
still,
see that
hate
calf
to see
wiggle like that,
the twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it is. So, again, I'm rooting for Nova. I hope they can overcome this injury. I want 1 point back, though. I picked Boise State to beat Memphis. I want that point back because now all of a sudden, Memphis and head coach Penny Hardaway, multiple level 1 and level 2 violations.
You're not going to get that.
I want my Boise State pick back.
You don't get it.
I want my point. Cheaters. God, I never liked Penny Hardaway.
It's Division I college basketball. What do you expect?
I know. Penny's just got to learn how to cheat like everybody else.
Yeah. Don't get caught.
When he gets to the level of Kelvin Sampson and Bruce Pearl, 3rd or 4th time around,
then maybe
he'll know how to possibly maybe get away with it. with only minor penalties.
Yeah. Well, he'll just do what they do. Move on to a different program.
And destroy that program, yeah. All right. A little bit of baseball news, of course. Tomorrow was supposed to be opening day.
But no. The owners and the players were such greedy bastards. They waited so damn long to even begin negotiations, hosing the fans yet again.
We are getting a full 162 in terms of the schedule, but they're going to, of course, condense everything.
Yep, going to have some doubleheaders built in.
And, of course, last week we talked about the fact they're going to do that stupid runner on second for one more year when you get to the 10th.
Absolutely
At least
horrible.
we're getting 9 innings and not 7,
That's
though.
true.
But a few little tidbits from the Major League Baseball front. One last year, one last go-around, going back home, per se, to the team that brought him up, Albert Pujols.
Yep, trying to make it with the Cardinals.
And, of course, the DH now in the National League will
help get him there.
Yep, so I believe $2.5 million for 1 year. That's nothing.
No, finish it off where it all started.
Yep, so good for him. Of course, we were talking about and rooting for New York to keep the vaccination mandates in place to screw the Yankees, screw the Mets, keep screwing the Nets.
But as we talked last week, late breaking news, finally something happened before we finished recording.
But a development, a National Enquirer type deep digging, dirt, nasty stuff, politics, payoffs.
Aliens were involved?
B. Arthur said before she died an alien probed her vagina.
And told her what was going to happen in baseball this season. Kept sealed in a mayonnaise jar under Funk and Wagnall's front porch.
Still to be confirmed by the firm of Price Waterhouse. No, this is just plain old dirty politics. It comes out that, as Dave alluded to, we got the news during taping last Wednesday night that New York was indeed going to lift the vaccination mandate for only athletes and performers, which is horseshit.
Exactly.
Everybody else who quit their jobs because they didn't want to get vaccinated, they're not getting their jobs back. The sanitation workers, police officers, firemen. But the performers and the athletes, we've got to make an exception for them. I wonder why. It looks like news came out.
Who donated how much money to the campaign?
The Mets owner, Mr. Cohen, happened to have been a generous donator to the mayor's PAC, otherwise known as his campaign. $1.5 million donated by the Mets owner, Cohen, to Mayor Adams of New York City, his PAC, Political Action Committee, for those of you who are not up on your CNN Fox News vernacular.
Yep.
The vax mandate gets lifted mysteriously.
From just 2 days before saying, nope, it's going to stay in place for the athletes. We're starting with the little kids. Oh, somebody gets a phone call. I gave you this much. I expect a little something, something. Okay. Athletes can play.
Yeah, now he did not give the $1.5 million right like last week. He had donated it beforehand. But he said, I'm giving you this. I will call you at some point in time and ask you for a favor.
And when I ask this favor, I expect you to jump on it immediately.
You will do as I say. And he did.
Yep. I say jump, you say how high, sir?
One of the greatest lines in rock and roll history, will never die, will never fade away, is The Who. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
New York
true it
politics.
is in politics.
There you go.
Finally, news announced today, which I think is just, it doesn't excite me in the least. They're coming up with an international home run derby competition called Home Run Derby X, I guess, or Home Run Derby 10. I don't know why it'd be 10 since this is the first year. They are taking 4 retired players from the quote-unquote, don't get offended, biggest, most popular 4 teams in Major League Baseball.
Whoop-de-freaking-do.
Dodgers, Cubs, Yankees, Red Sox. And they're going to put these guys out on tour. They're going to London, Seoul, and Mexico City. And they're going to have home run derby contests.
This is the stupidest idea.
What are they to promote the game overseas, internationally?
Nobody cares. It's stupid.
Yeah, the Cubs representative will get creamed each and every time out. Giovanni Soto.
What? You're not even bringing Hall of Fame players?
Oh, no. I think the Red Sox are bringing, I didn't write it all down. I didn't want to get deep in the weeds on this, but I know the Red Sox are bringing, or it could be the Dodgers, because he played for both of them. I know Adrian Gonzalez is involved. Now, he's a home run hitter, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't you be doing the sport a better favor by bringing in Hall of Famers? Known names in your sports world? Wouldn't that make more sense?
This just seems like yet another Rob Manfred clusterfuck, is what it seems like.
Yep, no thought put into it whatsoever. Oh my God, that's horrible.
Let's take your idea one step further. Why not just a home run derby competition? Why don't you get retired Hall of Famers, retired stars from these 4 teams, or, God forbid, bring in some other teams?
Gee, how about you have a Hall of Fame all-star team from each league to play exhibition games?
Thank you. This is why you and I are brothers from another mother. I start the sentence, you finish the sentence. Yes, wouldn't that make a lot more sense?
That would be more fun to watch.
You know what I'm wondering, though? Now that we start spitballing this, the cheap tightwad asses in MLB probably figure it's a lot easier to have 4 guys travel
who are nobodies.
To have 2 full teams travel.
Yeah.
Internationally.
Whatever.
Plus vaccine mandates. Who knows? A lot easier to get 4 guys shots than it is to get 4 teams. Or
2 full teams.
2 teams.
Whatever. 50 shots. Guys.
I'm just saying. Just think about it in this day and age.
Yeah, it's still a stupid-ass idea.
Yep.
All right. Further crackdown this year by MLB on the sticky stuff. They felt spin rates were still creeping up too high at the tail end last year. Thought pitchers were figuring a way out. So now, umps will still search hats, belts, and gloves, plus the top and bottom of pitchers' hands. And if a pitcher wipes his hand off before it gets checked, it's an automatic suspension. Starters will be checked multiple times during their outing. Relievers will be checked once. Catchers and position players are also subject to checks.
Wow. You heard it here first. This is breaking news.
Go.
I did not know about this. So once again, the conquistador, as he does every week, always throws a curveball, no pun intended, at me. Gives me something I did not even find out through my hours and hours of research and internet surfing.
Yep, pick that one up today.
And of course, the people who will be most affected, Garrett Cole of the Yankees, since everybody is saying he has lost something ever since the spider tack thing was
Dallas
exposed.
Keuchel.
And of course, Max Scherzer will drop trowel the first time they want to look at anything on his body.
Yep.
So
crazy.
Keuchel is one of those guys that's been
Dallas
affected?
hurt Dallas once they started the crackdown last year.
Yeah.
His ERA ballooned. He got hit hard.
Interesting stuff, kids. As always, here on Sports Frenzy 2.0. Time to end segment 1. We're going to, just like with basketball, segment 2, we're going to give a little bit more time to NASCAR. We feel like we've been cutting things a little close, talking about the sport we love. Now that everything's settled down with the NFL and baseball, we got a little more time to talk NASCAR. So our Circuit of the Americas recap coming up. Penalties. Massive major penalties have been laid out for a couple big name drivers. We'll talk about that. And, of course, we've got every week NFL news to discuss. So that's coming up as well.
So stay tuned for segment 2, kids. We'll be back.
This is Coach K, and after my retirement from college basketball, I plan to become an analyst on Sports Frenzy 2.0 with the Maestro and the Conquistador every Thursday on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page.
Welcome to the My Little Pony Show. Oh, wait. Happy early April Fool's Day, kids. This is Sports Frenzy 2.0, the sports edition. I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
Along with the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
Here we are recording March 30th, 2022. This will drop tomorrow, March 31st. Thursday as usual.
How can we do April Fools next week? We have to do it this week.
Exactly. All right. As we promised, NASCAR talk for this segment. So, Circuit of the Americas road course down in Texas. No rain this year.
Interesting race. It
was. I did not watch most of it. I had some other things, but I did catch the final segment.
It was interesting enough where I think this was supposedly a 2-year experiment.
Yeah.
With COTA to see if they were going to continue to do it. I think it warrants more races.
It does. It was an exciting race.
Right. I think the configuration is different enough from all the other road courses where I would definitely keep Circuit of the Americas on the schedule.
They've got a number of places where you can pass and set somebody up.
Yep.
High speed, good tight turns. No, it's one of the better courses. I like it better than Sonoma.
I was going to say, we've got Sonoma and Watkins Glen, of course, the two road courses that have been on the schedule forever. When you mentioned passing, that was a great point. COTA has a lot more places for, number one, passing, and number two, potential chaos.
Yeah.
When they go 5 wide into some of the corners.
Oh, my God, that was beautiful.
Yeah, so it was definitely an interesting race to watch. Brian Blaney had the pole. The winner, Ross Chastain.
Oh, my God, was that not a phenomenal drive on the last lap?
Yep.
Holy crap. Holding off A.J. Allmendinger and Alex Bowman.
Of course, Dinger got into a mess towards the end. And
yeah, Dinger pushed Chastain out of the way to make the pass. They started scraping a little, allowing Bowman to slide there momentarily to jump in the lead. But then Chastain said, got Dinger back, sent him just enough into Bowman to squeak through, and took Allmendinger out off the course.
Yep.
Of
course, the perennial, well, every road course race, every year, the favorite, Chase Elliott, had a solid run, but you never got the feeling he was really a serious threat.
That car was not there the entire day.
And even that being said, he still finishes fourth.
Yeah.
So, penalties. Now, for COTA, Dave has got the big penalty, and then we have to go back in time a week. And I'll tell you about the penalty that was announced right after we taped our last episode for Atlanta.
Yep. So again, congratulations to Ross Chastain. Trackhouse Racing's first win in their first season as a team running full time here.
And their cars look really good.
They've looked good right out of the box. So that shows you NASCAR knew what they were doing with this next gen car.
I could
leveled the playing field a lot more.
I could tell at the Clash at the Coliseum. I could tell that early on that Trackhouse had good cars.
Yeah.
Good, strong cars.
They bought everything from Chip Ganassi, but they still had to put this next-gen car together themselves. So, yeah, definitely a solid first go-round for this team. Hope they can continue that momentum. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, and after we talk about the penalties, I do want to get back into the overall picture right now.
Yep.
Half a dozen races in.
Yeah. So, coming out of COTA, Bubba Wallace, his team gets penalized after the left rear wheel came off of the car after a pit stop.
Fine to leave me loose wheel.
4 race suspensions for crew chief Booty Barker, along with Jackman, Caleb Dirks, and the rear tire changer Adam Riley. All 3 involved for 4 race suspension. I'm sure they'll try to appeal. Actually, you can't appeal this one.
It's racism.
You cannot appeal this because the tire was not attached. It came off. It was not. Yeah. I can see appealing your next penalty going back to Atlanta.
Yeah, it's gotten to be a mess here going back to Atlanta with Brad Keselowski and, of course, Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. They got an L2 penalty. You're not supposed to tamper, big no-no, with the parts for these next-gen cars. Or
use illegal parts.
Right. So, of course, L2 penalty is massive. L2 penalty.
It hurts.
10 playoff points deducted, 100 owner points deducted, 100 driver points deducted. You lose your crew chief, who in this case is Matt McCall, for 4 races, and McCall gets personally fined $100,000. Now, it is on appeal.
Yep. And they have a legitimate reason for the appeal. NASCAR has yet to say what part they were penalized for. Historically, NASCAR has shown the part, put it on display, so everybody knows what it was, what was done, what not to do again. They have yet to do that.
Yep, I agree. I
and
haven't heard it either.
RFK says the part they got and installed came from one of the NASCAR-approved suppliers.
So like you said, as opposed to the Bubba Wallace situation where we all saw the wheel come off.
Yeah, that's cut and dry.
April the 7th is when the appeal for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing will be heard.
Yep, everybody's in place up until that point.
This will kill RFK Racing. This will kill them for this year. And this is where I want to come circle back before we do our picks for Richmond and talk about the overall picture here now. 6 races in. We have had 3 winners who, it's good to see the young guys. We talk about this year after year after year.
When are they going to step up? When are they going to step up?
10 races in, 15. And we start going, oh, look at very, very interesting winners. Lots of veterans sitting in the back, haven't won yet. Points are bad. Are they going to make it? And in years past, they have. But now with the new car, the next-gen car, somebody like Brad Keselowski, he is buried deep, even without these penalties.
Right.
If they win their appeal and these penalties are not assessed, Keselowski is still way back, and he has not looked good at all this year.
No.
But you've got Ross Chastain has already won. Austin Cindric has already won. And Briscoe has already won. In addition to the 3 Hendrick drivers outside of Chase Elliott, William Byron, Alex Bowman, and of course, the Lord God King of NASCAR, Kyle Larson right now. So 6 different winners, 6 different races.
3 tried and true, 3 up and coming.
Yep. So again, we're going to say it like we do every year. Somebody's in trouble. And I say Keselowski is not going to make it. I say Kurt Busch is done.
They're buried deep.
Hamlin will probably win at some point, but the Toyotas are really scaring me.
They're struggling.
They have not figured this next-gen car out yet, like the Chevys and the Fords have.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting over the next few races to see what develops.
Yep. Now, Richmond, we move on to our picks for Richmond.
Get
coming
to the
up
short
here,
track.
April the 3rd, 2022, the Toyota Owners 400. And, of course, I know I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't say this. But anytime they have a manufacturer sponsoring a race, I tend to go, they're not going to let the manufacturer who's the title sponsor embarrass themselves, right? Can't happen. Right? Can't happen.
They
used to do it all the time at Homestead, right? The Ford 400, right? All the time at Miami Homestead. You're like, they'll never let the Fords embarrass themselves at the race named after Ford. So I'm going with the stupid logic. As bad as the Toyotas have looked, it's the Toyota Owners 400.
It's a short track. There's not a lot of
there is a
downforce or
recent
issues.
history for Martin Truex Jr., who has been highly successful at Richmond here over the past couple years. I haven't used one of him yet. We get 3 of each driver max over the first 26. So I'm going Truex. The Big Blue W is following me, as is Aaron, the Big Easy.
I almost followed suit. I almost went with another Toyota with Hamlin. Still couldn't do it. I'm riding the Hendrick wave. I'm going to take Alex Bowman.
You're not alone. Nick, the juggler, is following you. So we've got 2 Bowmans, 3 Truexes. Still got about 2 hours to go before our pick deadline. So Mrs. C, don't have hers yet. Doug he's not looking. Of course, half the guys
don't care
out of our 8 just hate NASCAR. We have this feud going on where,
why do we do it?
Half of us don't like it. Why are we? Of course, Doug wants to put the Masters and horse racing and lacrosse,
the Triple Crown and whatever,
and curling into our Penta Frenzy. And of course, we say, hell no. We're happy with the 5 we've got. We're going to stick with the 5 we've got. So, of course, Doug, one of the people that doesn't like NASCAR, obviously just looked at past history to make his pick. Not, of course, understanding what you and I understand. He took Brad Keselowski. So we'll see how that pans out.
We'll see.
The only other pick we've got in so far, that'll be 7 out of our panelists, our 8 panelists. Sam, it's a good pick. Joey Logano.
Not bad.
Not terrible. Not bad. He's been pretty solid this year. Not spectacular, but okay.
Decent.
Yep. But, as Dave and I said, 6 races in, I can see chaos.
Chaos is a brewing.
I can see big name drivers failing to make the chase. Friend of mine today who watches NASCAR, we were talking, he's like, Tyler Reddick's going to win here soon too. So don't forget him.
Yeah.
He's going
Tyler Reddick
another
is
young
knocking
driver
on the door.
And I still think you could be looking at an Allmendinger win at a road course. And he doesn't even qualify for the chase.
No, he doesn't. So, Suarez might be getting close.
Suarez, I like that. I was worried about him this past weekend.
Yeah, they looked really good in the first stage and early in the second stage.
Yep. I still think we're seeing the end, and I'm sorry, Kurt Busch fans. Keselowski, of course, since he's an owner, he'll be fine for a while. At least 2 or 3 years before he might pull a Tony Stewart. But Kurt Busch might be done.
could be getting close.
23-11. Bubba's been okay on super speedways.
Not so much anywhere else.
Right, and Kurt Busch doesn't seem to be much better. He's okay.
Well, I don't know if they've got the car figured out.
Exactly. And they're Toyotas, right? So again, the Toyotas seem to be struggling, failing miserably in some respects. Denny Hamlin especially. I just boggles my mind. Truex has held on okay. Christopher Bell had a good finish at COTA, but Denny Hamlin struggles boggle my mind.
Yeah, Kyle is kind of scuffling along.
But I think he's even been better than Denny.
Yeah.
All right. Very little in terms of NBA news, but of course, our favorite punching bag.
Yep, the LA Lakers losing, and now they're out of the playoff picture at the moment.
Of course, there's still 6 or 7 games left.
Yep.
So
it's going to be tough because LeBron is hurt and he doesn't know how much he's going to be playing here down the stretch.
I actually heard somebody the other day say, why isn't LeBron being considered for MVP?
Oh, come on. Seriously?
Just because the guy is leading the league in scoring on a terrible team?
That does not mean you're the MVP.
No. Of course, you could make the Mike Trout argument in baseball comparison there.
Yeah.
Angels never make the playoffs, yet Mike Trout's always an MVP consideration.
Why? He doesn't do much. Seriously.
But that's not where it ends for LeBron this week.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This makes me happy. This makes me so happy. I might give LeBron an extra bag of nuts on the Sports Frenzy plane of death because this makes me so happy. This had to be a kick to his ego. It was Oscar weekend, of course, this past weekend. Check out the weekend edition for our full breakdown of the slap heard around the world. But this was kind of a bitch slap, too. Of course, what else happens on Oscar weekend, Dave? The Razzies.
Oh, yeah.
The worst.
They do, the worst.
Guess who won?
He won.
Worst actor for his performance in Space Jam, A New Legacy.
Gee, there's a shock. I'm sorry, wasn't this the same damn movie, only with different players?
By all accounts. I never even watched the first one. I could care less.
I never saw the first one either.
But by all accounts, this one was even worse.
Wow. Wow.
Lakers right now out of the playoffs. LeBron, the reigning current worst actor in America.
Doesn't he join Shaq?
Oh, Kazam, I think,
Kazam,
right?
yeah.
I think Shaq won it for Kazam. But Shaq, of course, takes that much better than LeBron will ever handle criticism or something like that. Shaq probably has this Razzie
on display
right above his mantle in his one of 5 houses or however many he's got. Oh, all right, kids. We're going to wrap up segment 2. We've got football to talk about in the last segment. A couple dumbasses and a moment of silence in hockey.
Yep. Did you want to bring up the PGA rumor?
That's what we're going to save that for the last segment.
All right.
Yep. Right before we get into the dumbasses, because in a way
it is.
Yeah, the people buying into this are dumbasses.
Big time.
All right, kids, stay tuned. Sports Frenzy 2.0. We'll be right back.
This episode of Sports Frenzy 2.0 is brought to you by the Bills Mafia Marital Aid Company, because when you are down and out, we'll bring you back up and in the game. Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher.
Welcome back. Time to wrap up Sports Frenzy 2.0, taping here on the 30th of March, 2022. This will hit tomorrow morning, the 31st I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
It's been a long, long time, it seems like, since we have relegated the NFL to the third and final segment. But with March Madness, of course, NASCAR in full swing, baseball getting ready to start up next week.
NFL, we haven't hit full draft mode yet.
Right, we're about a month away from the draft, so the free agency has calmed down.
Yep. So now it's kind of some mop-up stories, if you will, for the week.
Yep. Some stadium news.
Oh, shall we start with the fire out in Denver?
Now, I won't take credit for this joke, but I loved it. Where after there was this fire that broke out at Mile High Stadium, damaged some suites and a section of regular seats, somebody said, "Hey, we're glad we got Russ. Let Russ cook, but come on, man, let's get serious here."
Nice.
But yeah, it doesn't look like it's anything that is going to impede Denver in terms of having full capacity.
No, they'll have to redo the suites.
It'll cost the owners some money, and right now they are in transition, trying to sell the franchise. So,
yep.
But I can't believe compared to
they have insurance on the stadium.
Compared to the money that's going to have to go into Russell Wilson's new contract extension.
Yeah, no kidding. Good Lord.
This is nothing. This is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, for sure.
They wish it had been a water bucket.
I know smoking's legal out in Colorado, but come on.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't hire the guy who's in charge of the Dolphins. You know, I'm going to make fun of your head coach for years and years to come.
Dude, I know.
It's like, where's the Crystal Burger?
Need some sliders from White Castle, man. All right.
The other new stadium news.
Buffalo Bills. New stadium in the works here that still has to go through final approval. $1.4 billion stadium.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a lock now that it's going to get approved.
But come on, public money. $850 million,
which is a record
amount, tops what Vegas is forking over. How is Buffalo publicly going to support this much? It's ridiculous. I can see it in Vegas because of everything out there.
There is so much revenue coming in from tourist taxes. It's the reason
why hotel
why
taxes and everything
Florida,
else.
Texas, Vegas can get by without state income tax or local income tax,
right,
is because of all the other money coming in from visitors and tourists.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to Buffalo.
No. It's a stopover on the way to Niagara Falls, or you go to a Bills game. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know if you people have heard, but you can actually get buffalo wings in other places now.
That's right. But come on, the NFL $200 million loan that they're giving into it, the owners are only on the hook for $350 million. That's ridiculous.
And of course,
they should be forking over at least. If an owner wants a new stadium, they should fork over at least half.
Oh, I agree completely.
At least half.
And of course, you'll talk about Roger Goodell's press conference today, where he addressed a variety of issues, but he sounded like a bumbling, stumbling idiot.
Oh my God, this
throughout
guy!
the whole thing, including talking about this situation.
Yeah, the guy is losing it completely. You used to give him some credit for his ability to speak to every situation going on. Now he can't put two sentences together.
And I think you can trace it back to Ray Rice. I think that's where the downfall of Roger Goodell started, is that they handled that so badly, and it looked like they didn't know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, that now everything is overthought to the point where he gets confused, he gets frustrated, And while he might not outwardly show it like a Rob Manfred does, Roger Goodell now just does Goodell speak, where it's a circular argument where nothing gets
He
explained.
talks, but you hear him, but you don't understand him.
And he's giving you nothing.
Yeah.
Giving you nothing.
Get nothing, which is kind of like what he was with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. Well, he could face a suspension, but it's not Goodell's decision. He can't use the exempt list from the commissioner anymore. It has to go through NFL and the Players Association to determine what, if any, suspension is coming. I mean, this whole thing has gotten absolutely ridiculous. And so, of course, Watson's going to be able to play all the way through until a decision's made.
Yep. And, of course, we talked about once the news broke about him getting traded to and signing a new deal with Cleveland, how they structured it.
Yeah, so he wouldn't
like
lose.
A slap in the face to the league office.
Yeah, and their owners are like, whatever. We don't care what the other owners think of us. Well, you should, because it's going to come back to bite you in the ass down the way.
Yep, and there's more developments, of course, speaking of owners, on the Jerry Jones front. Now the war of words has begun in this whole paternity issue that we discussed a few weeks back, where, of course, the Cowboys and Jerry Jones say this is extortion.
Yep.
And now the lawyers for the young lady have come back, said it's insulting to say that.
Yeah, there's just a lot of craziness in Dallas. As you said, before everything blew up, the Cowboys were good at keeping everything under wraps. Until you said that, they were. After you said that, the top has been ripped open off of Pandora Jones's box.
Yep. There are some owners that are better than others at keeping scandals, keeping conspiracies under wraps. Look at what happened with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, for how long
did Jerry Richardson get away with the alleged sexual harassment? And he was forced to sell the team.
Yep. Why hasn't Dan Snyder been forced to sell? Well,
Dan Snyder, everybody knows he's a dirtbag.
But why hasn't he been forced to sell the team yet?
Because he's slimy. He's supposedly given control to his wife.
Ooh, big effing deal.
That move, I'm sorry, that move doesn't work in politics. It doesn't work in terms of football team ownership.
No.
The minute you transfer power from wife to husband to wife, who is naive enough to think, well, everything's fine now?
No, it's an absolute crap fest.
There's no pillow talk going on.
Yeah, no. That if you think otherwise, I got some swampland in Arizona for you.
Yep. They got a bridge to sell you in Manhattan. Good week for the Lions, though. For once,
oh my God.
A rarity.
Detroit, actually positive news coming out. Not only do they get selected to be the team for Hard Knocks this year, they get nominated to host the 2024 draft.
I guess we have to qualify Hard Knocks now, though. Because remember, there's the training camp Hard Knocks and the in-season Hard Knocks.
Right.
So they get the training camp Hard Knocks. We'll see who gets season 2 of the in-season Hard Knocks.
Oh, God help
Part
us.
of me wants it to be the Bears. That will be must-see dumpster fire TV.
Yes, it will. Good Lord.
Just looking at Justin Fields' face every week. What the hell am I getting myself into? Oh, crap.
Yeah, but at least he has taken it on and is working voluntarily with Mooney.
I'm not ripping him. I'm not ripping him.
But it's just the whole organization. But at least he knows Mooney is the only guy he can rely on. And the two of them are working out together.
Yeah. Other Bears-related news. Our somewhat erstwhile kind of starting quarterback from last year,
the Red Rocket,
now goes to the Saints.
To back up in all likelihood, Jameis Winston.
And I like what they did with Taysom Hill. Because number one, we all know he's not really a great quarterback.
No.
We've seen enough of him to know he's not really. So they have moved him to tight end now. But number two, clever part of this, we know the Saints had a ton of cap issues.
Right.
Of course, now everybody's had to get below the cap number. But his huge extension he got last year
was for being a quarterback.
Yes. So now his cap number will plummet if he plays tight end. He'll get next to nothing.
Right.
So the Saints will save a ton of money by making this move.
Yep. Brilliant ploy.
Yep.
On their part.
So Dave still insists that the Bears are trying to get rid of Nick Foles, which I hope he's right.
Reports
but
keep
he's been saying
this
for a year, David.
Nobody will bite on him. And if the Bears are going cheap, like we talked about last time, taking on all this dead cap money, just cut Foles now. Take the cap hit and get it off the books. Just be done. Don't drag it out any longer.
Yeah, just take the nuclear option. Sorry, I know there's a war going on, but I'm looking at it like take the nuclear option, cut everybody you don't want to keep or don't want to extend.
Get rid of the dead cap money now.
Keep Montgomery if you can.
So that way...
You've got Fields. You've got Mooney, as you said. We re-sign Roquan, give him his extension. We're stuck with Eddie Jackson. Outside of that, everybody's fair game.
Yeah, just take the dead hit.
Robert Quinn, I guess we keep him.
Yeah, you have to have something.
Yeah.
But take the cap hit.
Yeah, there is actually a cap floor.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, Trevor Siemian does not instill confidence in me as a backup.
No. But, God, it's got to be a better option than Foles.
I know. Of course, they decided because of the whining and the bitching and the pissing and the moaning and the crying that they had to change the overtime rules for the playoffs.
Yep, and only for the playoffs, guaranteeing each team a possession, regardless if a field goal or a touchdown is scored.
Fine, just fine. It's just, I get tired of
the overreaction to everything.
The one thing over the last 5 or 6 years that I wanted them to fix, that they pushed out on, we'll try it for a year and see if it works, because there was a legitimate screw job involved, was the whole Rams-Saints pass interference thing. If you use pass interference on instant replay correctly, instead of what you did, which is where the referees basically rebelled and said, we're not going to really overturn any of them.
Right. They screwed that up. They deliberately sabotaged it. Because
I believe
there
every play outside of holding, because that happens on every damn play, pass interference should be reviewed.
Yes.
Everything, possessions, touchdowns. If we're going to go down this road, let's go down the road all the way.
Let's
and
get
not
it
have
right
the
completely.
umpires and the referees conspire to, we'll figure out a way to get this pass interference replay crap out.
I'm sorry. You guys are not that great at your jobs. If you were, there wouldn't be the outcry for reviews. You blatantly miss so many things. Let stuff go. Make it one-sided. It's pathetic.
Yeah, see, I would have been fine keeping overtime the way it was.
It would have been fine.
And a lot of people are on our side because
it's an overreaction to one great game.
The game is offense and defense.
Exactly.
If your defense sucks and you let up a touchdown,
too bad, you don't deserve to win.
Mike Tomlin actually came out and said it beautifully and said, we have had 60 minutes to win the game. And if we haven't been able to win the game in 60 minutes, then what's wrong with sudden death? Exactly. One way or the other. If we win or we lose, we had 60 minutes to win the game. We didn't get the job done.
Beautifully said.
Yep. I'm not a huge Mike Tomlin fan, but the man, I love to listen to him talk.
He knows the game of football.
Make him the next commissioner of football.
I got no argument there. The guy knows it inside and out.
Yep. Now, do I think he's gotten lucky at times?
He has, but he is a smart football guy.
He is. Oh, definitely. So maybe if we make him the next commissioner, we won't have to put up
get done right.
Well, we won't have to put up any more freaking expanded Rooney Rule changes because I'm getting tired of this.
Oh,
I am getting tired of this.
The new hiring rules were
mandate
a minority, be it by race, gender, whatever. You have to have a minority on the offensive coaching staff who has direct communication with the offensive coordinator.
This is a mandate. This is just right along the lines of what we've been bitching and pissing and moaning about, especially on the weekend edition, when it comes to our personal lives. And of course,
you have
Kyrie
to
Irving,
check the boxes.
And I do not like mandates. I don't like vaccination mandates. I don't like masks. Don't tell me what to do. I don't care what Howard Stern fucking thinks because he's a germaphobe. Don't tell me what to do. I will make my own decision. I decided to get vaccinated. I don't want to wear a mask. And I sure as hell don't like people telling me if I run a football team, who I can hire, when I can hire them, and how many I have to hire. I have always been that kind of person. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you don't. Don't tell me who to hire. I don't care, male, female, black, white, Asian. If they're the best person for the job, I'm going to hire them.
Well said.
Don't you dare tell me I can't hire this guy or this woman because there's another person who checks the box. Screw you checking boxes, NFL. I'm tired of it. And this better be the end of it. This better goddamn well be the end of it. Because if we got to go through another cycle of people bitching and pissing and moaning and saying there's not enough now, we got to have more, and we got to have more, and we got to have more, and different. I'm done with it. Don't tell me as a business owner, because that is what the NFL owners are. They are business owners. Don't you tell me how to run my business. If you can prove malice, if you can prove racism, then burn them down. You can prove, you should have been able to prove already with Daniel Snyder, sexual harassment.
Exactly.
Burn it down. Burn it down. But until that point comes and you can prove it, don't tell me how to run my goddamn business. Sorry.
There you go.
Finally in the NFL, before we move on to the big golf conspiracy Dave alluded to in the last segment. Good for John Harbaugh, one of my favorite coaches.
3-year extension.
One of the top 3 or 4 in the league, along with Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
And Bill Belichick. He will go through 2025 now. Most likely with Lamar Jackson. So hopefully Lamar Jackson will not burn him. We'll figure out a way to evolve, make his game better, not run and get hurt.
All right.
Figure out a way to pass the ball.
Yeah,
give him some weapons too.
John, rely on your football instincts. Stop going to the analytics. You're better than that.
All right. God help me. We got to talk about this. God help me. The Masters are coming up next weekend. Conspiracy theories are starting to percolate because there was a flight tracker.
Tiger Woods flew in on his private jet into Augusta to play 18 holes with his kid and one of his buddies. And
everybody all of a sudden, because his name is not listed like Phil Mickelson,
is already not participating.
Everybody's freaking out. Oh, he's going to play in the Masters.
There's a huge difference. He was able to play 18. on that leg. Can he play the entire weekend? Big difference.
And anybody who's listened to this show knows how I feel about Tiger Woods. He has tried to sabotage his life, his career, on 2 different occasions, if not more. 2 public occasions.
Yeah.
I have no sympathy for him. I am tired of the whole, oh, but look at him with his daughter. Look at him with his son. That's called PR.
Yeah. And that's great.
Hitler loved dogs. Speaking of dictators, nice segue, right?
Yes. Beautiful.
The war, of course, in the Ukraine with, Mr. Putin. The person who had to give up ownership of the Chelsea soccer team, Roman Abramovich, has been trying to make good by fostering peace talks. Well, it turns out he and a couple other people at these talks got poisoned.
Yep.
And my first thought was, where's Ricketts? Where's Tom Ricketts?
Not where's Putin.
Where's Putin? Where's Ricketts? Because he doesn't care about the Cubs.
Poisoning is a classic Putin move, and it would have been the perfect cover-up for Ricketts to be able to take control of the Chelsea football team.
Yep. Yeah, you just wait. They'll make a mistake on opening day, and they'll unfurl a banner at Wrigley Field that says, Dos Vidania. Dos Vidania, Cubs, comrades. I had to get that in. I've been sitting on that one for days. For days and days. Going back to Tiger Woods real quick before we move on to Moment of Silence. I can't remember the kid's name. Young golfer, grinder. He's on the PGA Tour, but he's not ranked all that high. He's not really well known. But after, like we talked about, there were people tracking the flight.
Oh, yeah.
Going into Augusta on Tiger Woods' private jet. He took a screenshot and put it on Instagram, I think, where he posted his flight information and said, I'm heading to the San Antonio tournament this weekend if anybody wants to track me. Really cool.
Oh, my God.
Really funny
awesome.
stuff.
No. God, who was it? Rory McIlroy.
Oh, he was slobbering all over.
Oh, my God.
If Tiger comes back, it'll be so great.
Yeah. What was his quote? It'll be phenomenal if Tiger opts to play. Yeah, Rory, you're an idiot. It's going to destroy the weekend, taking everything away from every other golfer who's at the top of their game right now.
Agree completely. I always agree with that sentiment. Is I don't think the PGA needs Tiger Woods.
No, they're doing fine without him.
I don't care about these sycophants out there. I heard some idiot on the radio, well-known, a guy I hate. I've talked about him before, Brandon Tierney. Oh, my God, he is such a phony. And he came out and said, if Tiger Woods actually enters and walks up on that tee on the first hole, it'll be the most poignant moment in my life in terms of sports.
Dude.
I'm like, you need to get a freaking life, you phony.
That is not the most poignant moment in sports. Sorry. That is pathetic.
Yeah. Well, he is pathetic.
There you go.
I can't stand him. All right. You want to take our moment of silence?
Moment of silence this week. Ottawa Senators owner Eugene Melnyk passed away after a long battle with illness. Thoughts and prayers to his family and the Senators organization.
And we are getting close, right, to the Stanley Cup playoffs kicking in a couple weeks away?
A little longer than that.
Really? I thought they usually started at the same time as the basketball.
They finish up in June. So in end of April, getting closer. So yeah, I guess it is about a month away.
Okay. All right, because basketball's only got another week and a half left.
Yeah, I guess
they go into the
NHL does.
playoffs.
I haven't paid much attention to the NHL.
You're bitter, man.
Suck.
Bitter, man.
They suck so bad.
All right, I have 2 dumbasses. We're not going to play dumbass or not this week. because of the paucity of sports dumbasses. But believe me, the weekend edition has a ton.
We're rife with it.
Of course, with the Oscar debacle, it's just going to be fun till Daddy takes the T-Bird away, let me tell you. These both revolve around the coverage of the NCAA basketball tournament. I like Tracy Wolfson, sideline reporter. She does football, of course, was sideline reporter here for the Final Four and, of course, the Elite Eight, Sweet 16. She had an interview with Coach K.
I'm sorry for her.
After the game was over, I think we're going back almost to the round leading into the Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken, where she had an interview with him after the game. And, of course, he was doing his false and fake gushing. I just love basketball. I just love these players. I just love my opponent. I just love everybody associated with basketball. One of those type of deals.
Yeah.
You know. And he was gushing and talking about how happy he was. And I know she didn't say it, but if you listen to it over and over and over again, it's really hard not to hear it. She says to Coach K, well, can you sit on my face? It literally sounds like it. She says, can you sit on my face? When I think she's trying to say, I can see it on your face.
I can see it on your
joy,
face.
the
Can
happiness.
you sit on my face?
But she just says it completely the wrong way. And it sounds like she says, can you sit on my face?
And
I know
that's unfortunate.
I know they have a lot of pressure on them. They've got to do things off the cuff. She's a professional, and like I said, I respect and admire her. But this just really is one of those situations where she should have, something in her brain should have clicked.
Yeah.
A switch should have flipped. Don't say it so close to making it sound like, can you sit on my face?
Wow.
Plus, she's got that big mole I can't stand. But anyway. Now, much more heinous dumbasses of the week to wrap things up here. AT&T. These ads that they've been airing because Lily's supposedly gone, so they've been trying to get other people in to take her place. Coach K, Rosario Dawson was in there. That's all fine. I like Rosario Dawson. She's kind of interesting. How offensive is this one with LaMelo Ball? The arrogant rookie of the year, when he's sitting there, I want to be employee of the month. But the one guy comes up to him, the AT&T employee, he says, little man. If I was that actor, I'd have said, I am not doing this.
Yeah, no,
screw
not
you,
gonna
screw my
happen.
agent. I'm not going to have this jackass call me little man. And then, of course, to wrap the commercial up, Mr. former baked bean teeth, his dad, LeVar Ball, has got to stick his nose into it, yelling from outside the store, that's my boy! That's my son! God. And the only thing I notice is he got his baked bean teeth fixed. So he must be making a ton of money off his children. So he can actually get the dental work done so he doesn't look like a complete troll, just a partial troll. This is the world we live in where degradation, humiliation are now commonplace. Where LaMelo Ball can degrade the fake AT&T employee.
Yeah.
And his idiot father can be screaming outside the door.
Like a moron that
egging him on. That's just a taste of what's coming on the weekend edition. Bad ads, bad actors.
Just stay tuned, kids. We've got everything for you. Music, movies, TV, Oscar wrap-ups, dumbasses.
And possibly the worst big-budget movie in the last decade.
Join us, won't you? Shoot us a line. Tell us what you think. Give us some topics you want covered.
He's the Conquistador Dave Height.
He's the Maestro Kevin Crane.
We'll check you out next week, kids. Take care.